All right, guys, we are live. Hey, Ada Sinha. All right. Can we just check whether the audio is fine? Can someone just post in the comments maybe that the audio is fine? Saurav Majumdar is talking about AlgoExpert. That's good. Okay, the audio is fine, says Keshav. That's good. Perfect. So this is going to be Ask Me Anything session. But what I'll also do is, so that there's not too much time wastage, I will be talking about the answers to this system design contest that we had about 2 months ago. It was for the ticket contest to the WWKTM conference. Now that's over, I can reveal all the answers. And I can also reveal who made the questions, which was me. So, okay. Interesting. How many of you are here for system design? And how many of you are here for computer programming? Let's see if I can take a poll or something. No, I can't take a poll. Okay. Anyway, in case you're looking for the link to the system design question, it's there in the description below. You can just click on that and go there. What I'll try and do is I'll try and actually show you the screen share for system design. Okay. What's happened recently with YouTube is that it's starting to behave funny in the sense that it doesn't give you any simple controls. Everything is complex. But I posted the link for the quiz in the chat, so you guys can check that out. Okay, there seems to be an audio video lag. Okay, many interesting questions in the chat also. I think we can get to it in some time. People are asking why don't we go for an algorithm series? One person asked too many times, so I'll just ban them forever. Yeah, that always helps, keeps the subscribers happy. Does degree matters being asked by Shady Coder too many times? I'll just ban this guy. So the reason I'm just doing this is because I'm waiting actually. Okay, yeah. So hopefully all of you have gone on to the link for system design, but I'll read out the questions also, of course. The first question is, which of the following test cases are best dealt with integration tests? So if you know about integration tests, they are taking multiple systems, getting them together, and then testing them. All right. And the options are testing an API of an external system, testing the API of an internal system, testing a complex arithmetic function, which is highly unlikely, and testing the correctness of unit tests. So this was for 1 point. I had actually weighted every question, and I also every question had some weightage. The total was 10, and if you scored 10, so the highest two scorers in this contest had scored full marks, and they got the tickets. So if you get all questions right, yeah, you get the tickets. But even if you score something like a 6 in this test, it's really, really good. Okay, and the current question, which is supposed to be a okay, simple-ish question, which is what do integration tests do? Do they test APIs of external systems, internal systems, or do they test complex arithmetic functions, or do they test the correctness of unit tests? And the answer to this is it tests the API of an internal system and tests the API of an external system. Okay, internal system was compulsory. If you didn't click on that, then you wouldn't score anything. But external system was also expected. Later on, what I did is I asked a lot of senior engineers as to what should be the answer for this. By the way, again, let me just repeat, the link for this quiz is in the description of this video. So you can click on that, go there, and you are seeing the very first question. Yeah. So I asked a lot of senior engineers, and they told me that an external system is also tested sometimes, although internal is completely like mandatory. Okay, so that would be 1 point. And if you did score, then good, you're doing really well. One small secret, by the way, I don't think I would have scored 10 in this test at all. I set it up, but it's a tough test. It's designed to eliminate people. We had about 1,500 submissions, of which just 2 people scored full marks. And there were a lot of other interesting results also that we got. It's exponentially low. The higher you score, the more elite group you join of system designers, I would say. Okay. Okay. Fine. Do you have any questions on that? I don't think I can see any questions on the chat regarding that one. Any doubts or something? No. All right. Meet Shah is asking, can you make a video for system design of Google Play, Google Pay, or Phone Pay? Okay, that's an interesting thing. Yeah, Meet, I think I could work on that. It's a finance related system, right? Payments gateway, payments actually, just in general. Maybe I can go there. Yeah. Please talk about load balancing is being asked by Safan Mansouri. I have made a couple of videos on this. You can check it out in the system design playlist. All right, let's head to the next question. Question number 2. This is, what is a single point of failure? By the way, you might be getting these questions in a random way because that's how it had been designed, so that there's even lesser chance of cheating. Um, what is a single point of failure is the second question that I can see, and you might be getting it in somewhere below. So the options are a system component that on failure fails the entire system. Second option for a single point of failure, the only component of a system that can fail. Now, if you know Murphy's law, then you know that this is not true, of course. Um, one of multiple parts of the system which can fail individually. Okay, a system component that on failure does not affect the rest of the system. Okay, the answers for this were mostly correct. Most people got this right, and the answer is a system component that on failure fails the entire system. Okay, that's a single point of failure. Like if you have that point failing, like let's say the load balancer, and you don't have multiple load balancers, if it fails, your entire business stops. So it's the single point of failure. Even in an employee graph, you can say that if the CTO is gone, and let's say there is absolutely no people can't think for themselves, so unless the CTO tells them what to do, they don't do things. That's a single point of failure. The whole business will stop. Right, most people got this right. You could have probably googled this out. It's an easy question, and this is the first question I thought of in the while setting up the test. Okay, Shashank is asking, fast payment gateway, can you show design? Okay, tagging me twice always helps, I guess. Can you please make a system design video on Make My Trip? Okay, that's interesting. I actually have these. When you comment on the videos, I actually note them down in an Excel sheet. I also put them in order as to which one do I think I should get to next in terms of the time it will take, the interest that people have in the subject right now, and a lot of other things. And then I have this nicely sorted Excel sheet. So don't worry, I don't forget things because Excel doesn't forget things. So yeah. Himanshu Podar is asking, do you suggest Grokking the system design interview? I don't have enough money to buy this course. Please answer. Well, I do suggest Grokking the system design interview. It's a good course, and it's a textual course, and it's got images also. So it's nice. But if you're talking about you don't have the money currently, the system design playlist on this channel is free. So you can go through that. It's pretty good. According to me, and I've heard this from a few people, that it's a good course. It's a good playlist that this channel has. Apart from that, you can always, of course, go for high scalability. That's a blog post. It's very verbose, and it's got a lot of good links. It's going to take you more time. The reason I suggest system design is because the Grokking the system design interview course is because it's got everything collected nicely together, like the playlist over here. So you can take it. It helps, but if you're out of money, then it's not an option, is it? So you'll have to do a little more work, and you'll be fine. Okay, Safan is asking the same thing multiple times with a copy paste, so he gets banned from the channel. Okay, that's sad. I'm dropping thanks for your help, brother. Rohan Srivastav, thanks so much. We have Parth Nandu saying that just now got your YouTube live notification. Okay, thank you. Thank you. We have Tushar asking, okay, view the marks. Tushar, we actually sent the email. So this is WWKTM, the organizers of this event. They sent an email to everybody with the marks. In case you missed out, it's fine. The people who scored I mean, it's not fine. I'll just ask them to get back to you on this. But you can calculate right now the scores, and you'll get to know where you stand. Basically, people who scored 10 were, I think personally, very, very good at system design. And also, this is my guess, that they were a little lucky because this is a really difficult test and it's, like in everything else, designed to eliminate people. All right. Karthik Shri is saying, "How's your new job going?" Okay, it's been a year now, so it's not so new, but it's going well. For those of you don't who, what am I saying? For those of you who don't know, I work at Uber, and it's going pretty well. It's a nice place. What are the guidelines for choosing a database? Okay, we'll get to the next question in just about 30 seconds. Yeah. What are the guidelines to choosing a database for a new project? Can you do a video on that? It would be a great help. Thanks. This is Yogesh Nayak. Uh, a database. Well, initially, this is my personal recommendation. When you have a project, and unless there is something glaringly obvious, go for the database which is the simplest to you, something that you are comfortable with, something that you understand very well, so that when the requirements change, you know how to tweak that database and get your work done. uh, if you go for a really complicated database, then what ends up happening is, or if you go for a very, very deep dive into understanding which database do you want, usually takes a lot of time. And at the end of the day, using it in the way that it was designed to be used is also a skill. So by the time you get to that, your project requirements sometimes change. And I'm mainly thinking about NoSQL, I'm mainly thinking about RDBMS, those two major categories. Don't go for graph out of the blue, straight off, unless, like I said, there's something glaringly obvious. Okay, then. You saw that close up, slow one? Yeah. Oh, it's getting even closer. Uncomfortably close. Okay, I better push this slightly away. Yeah. Okay, next question. Um, the most famous theorem of trade-offs in a distributed system involves something with a P. What does P stand for? So this is also very easy, so to speak. You can't Google this because it's a subjective. I mean, it's a long question with hidden information. But I'm talking about the CAP theorem, CAP. And what does P stand for? Partition tolerance. The answer amongst performance measurement, no. Processor usage, no. Publisher subscriber, no. It's partition tolerance. And the theorem says that you have three ways in which you can measure a system. One is consistency, one is availability, and one is partition tolerance. Partition tolerance is something, if you achieve it to 100%, then you can only choose one amongst consistency or availability. It's a very famous theorem. You can look it up. Recently, I actually shared a blog, I think, by Martin Kleppmann, the man behind the book Distributed Systems. He has a very interesting take on this theorem, CAP. It's true, but how helpful it is in distributed system scenarios when you're designing them is an interesting thing to look at. Well, I think I have this talent that I keep speaking without making any sense for a long time. Sometimes I have that feeling, but yeah, it's a good article. You can go on the community tab, check that out. Martin Kelpman, designing data intensive applications. He's a great author of a great book, so you can check that out. Hi Gaurav, what is your age and what is your location? Being Pythonic. Now do I ban this guy? Yes. Let it be. Bro, what is the best material for data structures and algorithms? This is a pretty stupid question because it's been answered so heavily. So, Karthik Sri, maybe you can do better. Avinash Singh, your views on Microsoft .NET framework? Well, it's an extremely good framework. I think they have a lot of languages which are on the .NET framework, and it's nice. I mean, if that's your question, your views on this thing, it's a very generic question, but yeah, I think it's a very well planned stack that they have done for the .NET. In fact, they built this years ago, and they have been able to do really well, challenging the major languages out there. After all, it's Microsoft, so it's a huge company, so they can do that. But yeah. Okay, Vela number one is asking a question which I have just answered a few minutes ago. Um, Prerit says hi. Hi. Okay. In 30 seconds, we'll be again going to the next question. Till then, if you have any questions that you're like, I'm a final year student and I'm thinking to take a drop about a year to improve my coding skill to get better jobs. Any suggestions? Should I do this? Okay, before banning, because it's a sensible question, I'm going to answer it. But it was copy pasted many times, so it has to be banned. I'm finally a student and I'm thinking to take drop for about a year to improve my coding skills to get a better job. You're going to take a drop. Okay, that's one of the stupidest things I've heard. Uh, why would you take a drop from your college education to get a better job? Do you think that you can't apply elsewhere? Um, okay, this is a stupid question. You just wasted about 30 seconds of everybody's life here. But congratulations on that. Um, can you make a video for system design step by step or recommend any sources? Okay, Shubham, we have recommended a few sources here. What about future scope for ML and AI for web developers? Vijay asked this question. Well, it's interesting to think about what ML and AI can do for the normal developer, like that, whether that's a web developer or a backend engineer, because a lot of systems are heading towards data aggregation and making sense out of a lot of events. Also, intrinsically intelligent systems, those kind of things. When you have the backend system, earlier there was a lot of alerting monitoring which was manual. Now it's heading more and more not just towards automated but smart alerts. So it's an interesting time to be in, and I think Vijay, that's a good question, so thanks for that. Siddhant Singh is saying, why is Uber switching to SQL from PostgreSQL? SQL is just a language. Postgres is a database. I don't know what you mean by that question, but Uber uses a lot of databases, so it's not like we use just one database. Okay, complete data structure and algorithm series preferably in Java gets banned because of multiple copy pastes. Okay, fine. We are going to the next question in the test. This is a difficult one. It's actually for 3 points. Yeah, the previous ones were all for 1 point. This is for 3 points out of 10. So if you get this right, you actually have a really good score. But it's a difficult one because it's multiple choice. The question is, which of the following are trade-offs in a distributed system? Trade-offs in a distributed system. Which of the following are trade-offs? First one is eventual consistency for faster response times. Okay. And the answer is yes. This is a trade-off. You want faster response times. You don't want to check the consistency. You don't need quorum. You don't need any kind of. I mean, quorum is fine, yes, but you don't need absolute consistency. So you can immediately respond with yes to the update. That is a faster response time. So first option is correct. Second option, allow network partitions to increase availability. And the answer to this is no. If you allow network partitions, it is no longer a distributed system. It is a shattered, fractured system. Okay, so you cannot increase availability in the cap theorem by allowing network partitions. Okay, if you allow that, then it kind of defeats the entire purpose of any business. Yeah. So that's the second thing. The third one is reduce code test coverage for faster runtimes. This is just me being silly. This is what I do in my workplace, I'm sure. Reduce code test coverage to it has nothing to do with runtimes anyway. So this is a wrong answer. You shouldn't have selected this. Lossy message compression for faster network speeds. Well, no. If you have a distributed system and you want lossy message compression, the chance of inaccuracies coming into the system is pretty high. It will be a faster network speed, yes, but in any distributed system that you're working in, you don't want to lose information. You want to reduce information, yes. You don't want to, or rather, you don't want to reduce information. You want to reduce the size of the information. You want to compact things. You don't want to lose anything. So this is an option that you should not have selected. A lot of people selected this option. It's a little confusing, but no. Lossy message compression, no. Okay, and finally, reduce throughput for overloaded systems. Reduced throughput for overloaded systems. Okay, what does this mean? It means that if you're getting 1 million messages and you can handle just 1 lakh messages, then you're going to drop messages. Okay, too much information or too many requests, drop them, keep them in a queue, slow things down. That's okay. Losing information is not okay. Refusing requests is okay. There's a subtle difference, but it's important. And that's the reason why reduced throughput for overloaded systems is a correct option. So, what are the trade offs in a distributed system? Final answer: eventual consistency for faster response times, allow network partitions to increase availability, reduce throughput for overloaded systems. Okay, so that would give you 3 points. And if till now you have been scoring all points, then you will be at 6. 6 out of 10 is a very good score, like excellent. You should be happy with this score, definitely. I wonder if I had scored. I mean, I would have been able to score this. This actually question, this had partial marking also. I had added that depending on how many you selected and which ones you didn't select. But in the end, it turned out that there were 2 people who aced the test anyway, so it didn't really matter much. Okay. Okay, Ashish Pulake just got Pukkale just got banned. My God, I should hire somebody to do this banning thing. I feel terrible every time I ban someone. Or not really. Okay. I'm a physics major. Okay, John Joshua. I'm a physics major. I've been thinking about learning some programming. How important do you think it is, and which programming language would you prefer? If you're a physics major, I would suggest you to start with Python. There's also Clement, who has a channel. You can check that out because he's a math major and he's done pretty well. He's done extremely well, rather, in the software engineering preparation domain. So I would suggest Python to start off with, and then you can head to some of the other programming languages which are based around either object-oriented languages or functional programming, so on and so forth. Initially, scripting is fine. Just getting your work done is fine. Okay. We'll head to the next question in about 45 seconds, maybe. Yeah. How is working different at Morgan Stanley versus Uber and Rectai? Advait Pundlik asked this question. Morgan Stanley was a finance company, so the kind of work that we did there was related to, like in any financial system, you had to make sure that the data was absolutely accurate. You had to make sure that the processes were well understood. Almost every metric had a business metric behind it immediately. Almost every thing that you did had a financial business reason behind it. In direct AI, it was a um, lot more, let's say, relaxed the environment. We could work on the product without thinking too much about, let's say, the absolute business reason why we should be doing this. Sometimes there are experiments, sometimes something was good and you did it because it was good. For example, the code had to be refactored, and very often in the smaller companies you don't have time to do it. You do it out of necessity. In larger companies you can sort of prepare yourself better for the future. So that happened a lot. And like refactoring code was one of the fun things. Building products was, of course, always it's nice. You work on features, you see them come out in the real world, and then you go like, okay, yeah, we built that. So that is the kind of thing. In Uber, again, it is the branch in Hyderabad is related to finance. So there's a lot of projects which are related to taking a huge amount of data, making sense out of it. There's machine learning involved in places, and so it's an interesting place. I won't get into the details because I don't think that's legal, but it's a nice place to work in. Okay, Harris Papadopoulos. How many years does it take to become a good enough programmer to get into Google? Okay, final question before we head to the quiz again. It takes a few years if you want to be good enough programmer to get into Google. And if you're starting from scratch, I think again Clement will be a good person to advise you on this. But I personally, I believe that if you take a year and work on your programming, work on your math, because Clement already had a math background. Rachit again has Rachit Jain, another YouTuber, has electronics background, and he had been programming competitively for a while, so he was pretty good at programming. I would say it will take you at least a year if you're starting from scratch. Now, how far scratch is it? Like, are you in 12th? Are you in 10th? Based on that, I can tell you, like, it's going to take you at least a year if you're in your fourth year and you haven't done programming. Maybe even more. Maybe more than a year. Yeah. Okay. So the trade-offs question, Rohan, you can see this later on. Rohan B. Sahu is asking a repeat of that answer. You can see this later on. I'll keep this video probably unlisted or not, but I have this shared in the community tab. You can have a look by heading back to the stream. Piyush Priyadarshini, I have seen your comments a lot. Now I hate to ban you, but I have to because there were like 7 messages there. Okay, next question. Which of the following describes Git? Okay, second last question. This is a pretty interesting one. A lot of people got this right and wrong at the same time. Here's what it is. Which of the following describes Git? First one, event-driven architecture. Yes, it is an event-driven system. Whenever you make a commit, when you say add this file, it's an event. It drives everything in the architecture. Okay, and in fact, you have it's not that doesn't make it event driven, but every event is stored, every change is logged, and everything that you do can be gone back to. So it's an event driven architecture. All right. In fact, I had made a video on this mentioning Git being an event driven architecture. A file compression system. You can call it a file compression system, but it isn't. It's just it has some pack files. When it needs to send them over the network, it compresses them. It uses, I think, Z zip no gzip, yeah, gzip. So recently I was in this conference, and even before that I had actually studied about Git. It uses a file compression system, but that's not what it is. Okay, and so that's the wrong answer, but I was really lenient in this one. If you had tick marked the other answers correctly, even if you said file compression system, it would be fine. Okay, Merkle tree, is it a Merkle tree? Does that describe Git? Yeah, I mean, no, but yes, it does. It uses a Merkle tree internally. So if you had marked this yes or no, doesn't matter. You still go through. And then finally, content addressable system. Yes, that's exactly what Git is. It's a content addressable system, meaning that it has content which can be addressed using their sharp pointers. And it's a system, meaning it defines how it's going to be addressed, how that content is going to be addressed. So the correct answer is event-driven architecture and content addressable system. But if you mark Merkle tree, that's fine. If you marked all 4, that is fine. If you did not mark any one of them and mark file compression system, that is absolutely wrong, and you would get 0 there. So that's how I actually evaluated this question. Yeah, Sachin Kaushik, you're right. Git is a source control software. It's one of the use cases of Git, but it's actually, if you want to define it as a programmer, content addressable system is the most accurate one. Okay, Praneeth Mehta is asking a pretty controversial question. Is TCS digital profile good for a fresher? I mean, if you're looking for stability, I guess TCS is a good company. I wouldn't like to comment much on other companies, but I never. This is something I've heard personally. I've never heard people being extremely happy in the companies like TCS. Maybe it's a very small sample space, yeah. But the people I speak to are rarely too happy over there. And you might want to go on Quora and some other websites and figure out whether you want to join that company or not. So have a look. Akshay Shushir is asking which is the correct path to become a system design engineer. Well, one of the things you can do is in your own, I mean, when you're working, if you can read up on documents which are related to building systems, this is extremely rare. So I'll just take it like step by step. Some companies have engineers writing documents for system design. Like before they build the system, they actually write down the design document. Then they explain why they're doing it, alternative approaches, and then finally they build the system. So you can actually go through the code, go through the documents, go through the arguments. This is a really rare thing. For a stable company, doing this is affordable. Many companies can't afford this, and that's perfectly fine. I mean, the business drives things. So if you're in this kind of company, then you probably won't be asking this question. So the next type is where you have your senior engineers who can tell you how systems have been designed in their company. So they have a lot of projects. There's not much documentation. The code is a little haphazard, but their engineers know why it was done this way. Or even if it was done wrong, at least you can go and ask them. Okay, so that's type 2 company where you have to work harder. In this case, I suggest you go through high scalability. I suggest you go through the course that I was talking about, Grokking the System Design Interview. I suggest you go through this playlist on the channel, and you should be reasonably good at system design. Then you'll be able to understand the common terms, like load balancing, like what's the single point of failure. Yeah, those kind of things. Okay, and the third type is where system design is extremely rare. Most of the things that you will be doing is scripting. This is usually startups, or there's a lot of companies which don't really require a very large system. They need something to work. So in those cases, you only have external sources of information. So like I said, there's books that I've recommended here. Martin Keltman has the Designing Data Intensive Applications. The second thing is high scalability. Definitely go through that. They keep updating their content. And you have YouTube channels, not just mine. There's a lot of good tech conferences. There's a lot of good, I think Infocon is one. I don't know if there are discussions on system design as much, but most of the tech conferences are around system design when you're looking for back-end engineering tech conferences. Scalable systems. Like scalability is a key tag when you're searching for this kind of a video. All right. Okay, one final question before we head to what will be the last question on the quiz. What is a good way to find new jobs to switch to? Okay, Ayush, that's a pretty generic question. Vinny Chaurasia asks how to improve multi-threading. Okay, I don't know what do you mean by that. How do you practice actual system design problems? Okay, Smart Madan is asking, how do you practice actual system design problems? Well, if you get if you get a design problem in your real life, then of course you have to design it. You have to get it validated by your senior engineers. You have to make sure that the business says yes to what you're building. So that's a really nice position to be in. You don't necessarily have to be there though. You won't necessarily find yourself there. So in that case, what you have to do is you have to talk to your peers, talk to your seniors, tell them about this is a hypothetical system and I want to design it. It's very difficult because your seniors have to actually spend time with you. So you can find a hobby group. Maybe I will create one, system design enthusiasts. Yeah, that'll be fun. Maybe. What do you guys say? A hobby group in Hyderabad, and then we can expand that to different areas. System design enthusiasts, or we can name it something else. Okay, Yogesh Nayak says yes. That's a good start. We have one person on board. Yeah, it'll be nice. I think it'll be fun. I think I will be. I mean, you guys want a hotel or something? How to figure everything out, how to host it. There's people who are saying Bangalore. Yeah, Bangalore is also a great place. Delhi is a great place. Mumbai, unfortunately, does not have such a huge IT crowd as of yet. Pune is again interesting. So, I mean, I think I'll probably start with Hyderabad because I stay here. So, and then we can expand. I'll just go from one place to another, hopping everywhere. But system design enthusiasts are really coming up. The number of people I'm seeing interested in this is pretty high. And like in this live stream, there's around 216 of you. So there must be I mean, there's people who are interested in getting to know how do we design systems, how do I do this if my job is not very aligned towards this. So I think that'll be fun. Okay, serverless architecture. Okay, this is interesting. This will be a live session recorded. So everywhere I go to, I'll try to keep it live. In fact, this is interesting. I didn't expect that I'll come up with anything concrete here. In fact, I hadn't even thought of hosting conferences. But looking at your response, I'm pretty happy. Maybe, yeah, maybe let's go. I'm not very good at handling events. I actually I'm terrible when it comes to handling events. I've never done it even in college, but I'll try and get some people on board, maybe friends who can get everything set up, and then we talk about system design the entire day. We talk to people around us, talk to them about what they do, and maybe even networking or something like that happens. Okay. All right. Let's head to the last question then. Training is asking how serverless architecture can be an advantage while designing a system. We'll get to that later. I'm going to skip this obviously because it's a very silly question to ask in a live chat if you're expecting a detailed answer. I'll get to it later. I'll put it on the list. Thanks. Final question then. Which guarantees would you look for in a transaction system? Which guarantees would you look for in a transaction system? Okay, so transaction system, I mean to say it should be atomic, right? Acid properties. Okay. But in a distributed system, acid properties are really difficult to go through. So imagine a financial transaction. Imagine you're paying 100 rupees to Paytm. Yeah. So which of these are important? Ordered processing. Hmm. Yes. Yes. Ordered processing is very, very important. In a transaction system, the reason for that is because you say reduce 100 rupees from A's account, add 100 rupees to B's account, and if these are not ordered, then you will, I mean, what could happen is another transaction could come in and reduce 200 rupees from A's account, sending it into a negative balance, or let's say zero. Now you can't actually reduce 100 rupees from A's account now. So A's account had 200 rupees initially. The transaction that should have happened first was reduce 100 rupees. Instead, the second transaction reduced 200 from that. We are at zero. First transaction comes, says reduce 100, nothing happens. Okay, so order processing is important, especially if you have all of these requests as one single transaction. Okay, second part, at most once delivery. At most once delivery. No, because you'll miss out on the message. If you send a message and at most you're sending it once, meaning that if it fails, you don't send it again, the transaction is not going to fail. It's going to be like it can be an incomplete transaction if you're thinking about multiple messages being sent in one single transaction. So at least once delivery is what we are looking for, and we are looking for at most once processing. So this thing is called idempotency, which is the fourth option. You send the same request 10 times, it processes the request just once. So if I say send a message to Gaurav saying hi, and this message goes 10 times with a retry, I don't get 10 highs on my chat tab, which is what I'm getting right now in the live chat from a lot of people. They're getting banned constantly, so it's okay. And finally, the last option is eventual consistency. Eventual consistency in a transaction. I mean, no. If you're looking for a transaction, you want it to be reflected immediately everywhere else. I do understand that there's distributed consensus protocols like Paxos. But yeah, eventual consistency was not something that I'd initially thought about. Although after a lot of discussion, I allowed that as an answer. So see, okay, any other and eventual consistency is no. So the correct answer is ordered processing, idempotency. And if you have these two, whether you tick mark eventual consistency or not is fine. Okay, Jay Rena just sent 20 rupees. 24/7 live bot just said hi, 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 hi. I'll take that as a joke this time. We have Jerena. What do you want to? What's your question? You actually haven't sent the question with the money. So in case you're sending money, guys, make sure that you type out the question with the super chat. This is called super chat on YouTube. Jerena, I'll have to now go through the chat and figure out. Oh yeah, okay. How should I proceed to learn competitive programming? What's the right way and the right resources? You're lucky you sent those $20, because you were going to get banned otherwise for this question. Okay, how should I? No, I'm just joking. Proceed to learn competitive programming. What should I? Well, competitive programming, to be honest. So I was doing competitive programming today. I was doing digit DP. So I did 3 questions. It's Ravan, G1, and everyone. Lucifer is the problem. It's a pretty interesting thing that I'm learning right now. So uh, you just need to start. Go to Spodge. Spodge is a site. I'll just type that down. And Code Forces. These are good. What ends up happening with these is you learn new concepts and you get better and better at computer programming as you work at it more and more. So it's the same thing with me. I hadn't been computer programming for years now. So 2 years ago, I tried it and got my rating screwed. And after that, I learned that, okay, I need to prepare before I start computer programming again if I ever do that. I don't think I will, but for DigitDP, I felt like I need to solve problems to be sure that when I teach this concept, I will actually be capable of teaching this. All right. Malay Mangal Prada, thank you for the super chat. What's your view on blockchain tech? Do you think it can influence as many sectors as machine learning, and why is it still not very popular? To be very honest with you, blockchain has a lot of things which are going for it and not going for it. Uh, Blockchain is something that you need to adapt only if you find it useful. If you're talking about financial systems, I'd say there are places where blockchain is being used, or at least concepts of that. If you're talking about Merkle trees, if you're talking about making sure that no one can maliciously make a transaction, it's there in a lot of systems. But for external systems, your internal systems, you trust your people. Yeah, why would you have blockchain over there? Why would you waste your resources, your engineering talent on assuming Byzantine faults or Byzantine errors and all that? Like, you trust your system, yeah? So you don't need blockchain everywhere. But it's a pretty interesting technology. The kind of things that people are coming up with is pretty good. So I think 15 years down the line, blockchain will be really, really big. Like 5 years down the line, I can see machine learning becoming huge. 15 years down the line, I think that'll be the next decade when I'll be pretty old, I'm sure. I see blockchain becoming pretty big. So if you're looking for that right now, it may not be a very good investment in terms of your time and effort. This is my personal opinion. But yeah, machine learning seems like a good investment right now. The people had been saying it 10 years ago also, but now it's making a lot more sense. Samarth Sinha just sent a super chat. What's your message, Samarth? If only I could. Yeah. So, guys, again, if you're sending a super chat, it would be nice if you write down the question right there. Please make videos on design patterns with application example, preferably in Java context. Design patterns. I think there's a lot of videos already out there for design patterns. So I can make them. I'll tell you what's not out there for design patterns. A person actually taking a real production problem and solving it with design patterns. No one's done that. I've talked to a lot of my friends at my workplace and outside my workplace, and they all say, I love design patterns, but I don't want to see foo and bar and then someone taking a ridiculous example and making it work. I thought about using chess for design patterns, but again, that's a contrived example. I want a real production problem. So uh, I don't know. Maybe I'll collab with CS Dojo. Maybe you can tell him if possible. I can. He's made a startup, right? So maybe we can apply design patterns over there. But I wonder if it's that big a project where you need to apply design patterns. Like, you strictly need that, because one of the things that you want in agile development is make it work somehow. So okay, fine. Shashank Mishra says, I admire you a lot. Please create videos on streaming application and ELK stack. Yeah, this is a good idea. Shashank, I think I'll get to that soon enough. Thanks. Jay Rena, yeah, okay. Yeah, you sent the message. Thanks. I think I've answered that. Do you guys do pair programming in Uber? Sachin Kaushik. It's top secret. But I mean, if you need to do pair programming, yeah, it's not a bad idea. But in my personal experience, I don't think I've done pair programming at Uber. And in fact, I don't think I've done pair programming for a while now. If you're a fresher, then you need pair programming. You get your code out quickly, but usually you want all your resources to be at the max efficiency. So you write code, you get it reviewed, and then multiple people review that and make sure that it's correct. Okay, data visualization. I think we'll run this for about 4 minutes, 10 seconds now. So we'll quit at the 15-minute mark. Yeah, that'll be a good thing to do. Lionel Arvind says, how can I get into product-based companies like you did for getting into Uber? I think I've discussed this a lot. Interview preparation sites. I made a video on preparing for your interviews also. If you're asking how do I get shortlisted, well, the answer is it took multiple things. Firstly, I was hired already at DirectEye, so it's a pretty for talent. So DirectEye is a company that will be looked out for. Um, Also, I had these system design videos, so they were. I mean, interview bit talked about collaboration, possible collaboration. This is a year back approximately, and one of the things they also mentioned was um, an interview at Uber is something I can do. So that's what set up the interview. Everything else was fine. Yeah, the questions were really tough. I barely scraped through, but let's not get into that. Okay, 3 minutes remaining. MV Rao just sent super chat. MV Rao, what is your question? MV Rao, it would be nice if you just typed in the question while you were sending the super chat because I'm not very good at JavaScript searching. But can you paste your question again? I think Rao. Yes, your hard work and design videos in simple format, amazing. If you come anytime to the Bay Area, California, let us know. We can plan one get together. Oh, that'll be fun. That'll be actually fun. So just a few minutes ago, we were talking about the the thing. What do they say? Meetups. Yes, for system design enthusiasts. That's good. I mean, if I come to the Bay Area, that'll be fun. Uh, I'll just get down at the airport and say, "Who's MV Rao here?" And then everyone goes like, "MV Rao, we know, it's that guy." So it should be easy. You can contact me on LinkedIn or Facebook if you want to contact personally, and you don't want to put your information for the whole world to see. And it'll be fun. Yeah, I'm sure. Neil Chaudhary, hey Gaurav, can't increase Code Forces rating. Any other idea? Uh, Well, you have to work on it, yeah. I don't have any question now. Gone through all this. Okay, MV Rao, thanks so much again for the support and the kind words. Uh, Sharat is asking, please post them in Python. Yeah, Ramkrishna, I'm going to be doing that. We are at the last 1 minute. So if you guys have any questions, after that, we'll be wrapping up. Wrapping up meaning I'll just be saying bye. Okay. Uh, we have Santosh Gugan. What's your advice on gaining confidence in system design? Well, the more you do one thing, the better it is. So just keep practicing. I've talked about a lot of sources in this. You can always head back to the start of this video and check it. I mentioned them multiple times, so you should be good. Okay, this is an interesting question. Himujal Upadhyay says people who have worked in the software engineering domain have told that they have used algorithms and data structures rarely in their long career. Why is it then asked in interviews? Well, it's asked because it's a problem-solving metric. Like you get to know whether a person is good at problem solving by asking them questions which are on problems. If they are able to solve it, then you know that they can probably solve the problems that you throw at them or the product throws at them. For engineers, computer engineers, it's even more true because the kind of problems that we deal with are mathematical, require computer science knowledge, usually have a very clear algorithm which solves it. And so, if a person is well versed with algorithms, they are more likely to succeed in solving problems. That's all. The problem, though, is that when you consider them to be gods, so if you meet a average computer programmer, like I'm not saying average, I would say the most common feeling that computer programmers initially have is that this person can solve any problem, therefore they're really good at software engineering. Not necessarily. Your code needs to be nice, in the sense it needs to be readable. Your teammates should not puke after looking at your code because you care about their health. And you need to make sure that the design that you have for a system is scalable. Doesn't need to be necessarily, I mean, it should be performant. The algorithm shouldn't be absolute crap that people look at it and go like, why are you linear searching when you can binary search? But your design should be that if tomorrow 1000 new users come compared to your old 1000 users, you just add a computer and you're fine. The load on the system is the same. That's how it should be. It should be extensible. It should be, if possible, simple. So that's the kind of things you deal with. And you'll get to know this when you're out there, actually doing programming. It's something that I learned the hard way. Hopefully you guys will learn it through internships and through all the experiences that you have out there for Quora and everything else. Okay, then we are at the 51-minute mark. I think we should be wrapping up. Okay. Okay, that's a pretty complicated question, Ronak. Maybe we can talk about this in a specific interview or somewhere else. Atomic reference is an alternative to solve synchronization cost in multi-thread applications. That's a pretty complex question in a live chat. Uh, yeah, Vaibhav, that's true. It's a flood of questions. And I think I'll be wrapping up now. Okay, guys, thank you so much. I hope you liked the contest we had earlier for WWKTM. That was that was I mean, it needed a lot of thinking, and the response we got was amazing. 1,500 people responded to it, and we had two winners who got 10 on 10. I won't be revealing the names because I don't know whether that's a good idea, but it was amazing. And so many of you were so good. So many of you scored above 6. Most of you did really well. Anything 4 out of 10 is good. It's passing, over here. And in case you scored lower than that, that's fine. It's fine because you're learning. So all the best. Keep trying. And for all of you who are asking for a conference in a city, maybe Hyderabad or a city in India, maybe possibly the Bay Area also, I'll try my best, and I'll try to make sure that it's out there. I mean, the results are out there as soon as possible. Okay then. See ya. Bye bye.